Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Rafael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Welcome back. It's Friday. New Tip Daily. Seriously, we're just getting started. This happens to be episode 10. I am thrilled, happy, overjoyed that you took a few minutes to join me on today's tip. My name is Rafael. Welcome. My guest today is Rick Rando. He's a seventh degree martial artist who knows a thing or two about a thing or two on discipline. As a keynote empowerment speaker, Master Rick has conducted thousands and thousands of demonstrations, presentations in the education system and in the business communities he serves. He's been the keynote feature speaker at thousands of events and has worked with countless distinguished companies. Join me as he shares his knowledge and view on discipline with us today. I am just thrilled that he's going to be here with us. Let's take a listen. Master Rick Rando, join us, please. Rick, thank you so much for joining me on this amazing new show that I have going on.
I'm super excited for you. I'm excited. This is going to be amazing.
I know, and you have so much ideas, so much content, so many great tips, but I know that today you want to talk about discipline. Let's go for it. I think discipline is a great tip to help someone and motivate someone.
So most of the time when we think about discipline, we shudder because when we were young, we got disciplined because we didn't have discipline, right? And discipline when we were young, okay, and I'm not saying how old we are, okay, Sifu, because we're not spring chickens, but when we were young, it was quite different than it is now. I don't know about you, but I never got the time out, go sit in the corner and think about your feelings, right? Our form of discipline was very different. So when I talk about discipline, I want it to come from a martial arts perspective. So I've been doing martial arts in a month. It'll be 35 years a month from now. I've been a studio owner now for 23 years and, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to say what my resume is here because you're not here to tune in to hear that. But what I will tell you that as a martial artist, as somebody that not only is a practitioner, but is a teacher, discipline is essential in anything that you do. And the first part of discipline, and I look at this from students that come in or for parents that come in and they bring their kids in, or sometimes adults come into the class and they say, okay, I want to get in shape, or I want to learn self-defense, or I want my kid to learn self-control, right? So the very first thing is that during that process that you have to be uncomfortable. That's why it's called discipline. Because being disciplined was very uncomfortable. So having discipline, again, is something it's not comfortable. It's very foreign to us because, we want what feels good. We want our food, to come out fast and correct. We want our packages from Amazon to come out the same day or the next day. We want what we want when we want it. And sometimes that gets in the way of discipline because discipline requires us to think long term. Okay, so the very first thing about discipline is that you have to be uncomfortable. Okay, right? The road to prominence runs right through adversity, which means that if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're not learning and developing yourself. And if you're not doing that, you're slowly over time, you're dying, right? So number one, you have to figure out what's important. Okay, and then you have to make yourself uncomfortable to get that thing, whatever it is. Because if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten, right? You probably have heard that quote before. So number one is get uncomfortable. Number two, systemize your actions, which basically means make it so you can forget about it. All right, what do I mean by that? Well, when I got my first job, I started cutting grass when I was 12 years old. Okay. But when I was like 17, I read this book called The Millionaire Next Door. And I read it and I was like, man, it's the largest study at that point of millionaires. And basically what that book says is that you set it and forget it, kind of like a crock pot, that, when you get your paycheck, you put a little bit aside for retirement, and then you forget that it's even there. And most people have a hard time about that because you get it in your hand, you get that $10, $20, $50 in your hand, and you're like, well, I could go out to dinner with this, or I could put it over here and vanish it away, that I never see it again until I'm 70 years old or 65 or whatever I'm going to retire. But the system of that, of doing and giving, or doing and saving, or doing and spending, whatever your habit is that it creates this discipline factor in you that every dollar has a purpose. So we were talking before we started, I'm training for a marathon, and I have a marathon in about a month. And, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I do my runs. And there's a reason I pick those days. There's a reason there's rest days on Saturday and Sundays. But when I get up in the morning on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, no matter how bad I feel, the very first thing that I do is put my run gear on. Very first thing. I put my runner's glide. There it is. There it is right there, the power to habit. You put your runner's glide on, you put your half sleeves on, you put your running socks, whatever you require, that's required to run and complete that task, that's done first. Because and it's set out the night before. So none of my other clothes are out. So when I get up, that's what I put out. That's what I'm putting on. So part of doing this discipline stuff is making it automatic. So you're uncomfortable, right? Because you don't want to run. When you get up in the morning, that's the last thing you want to do. I don't want to be sore. I don't want to be sweaty. I don't want to but I do it first. That's just me. I do it first. Same thing with that paycheck. Before I even get the money now, right? Part of it is already out of my check, right? In fact, I think the smartest thing the government ever did was they take their money out before you even get your paycheck, right? So it's gone. You don't even see it. So you don't even know how much they're pulling unless you really look, and then how bad they're really spending it sometimes. But that's a whole other conversation. So
yes, it is.
Systemize your actions. Okay, listen to me. I'm going to give you a quote. Ready? Failure comes when excuses outrank action.
Love it.
So when you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like it, and you put your regular clothes on, boom, you failed that mission. You failed that systemized uncomfortability that day because you wanted to put on sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And then, of course, at the end of the day, you're like, well, I don't have time, or I'm really busy, or I don't feel like it, or I just ate. I can't run because I just ate, right? So all of these factors go in. So 1, get uncomfortable. 2, get systemized with your actions. Number 3, I want you to repeat after me. Winners work, okay?
Winners work. Winners work. Absolutely.
Winners work, okay? I got a trademark on that, and I'm happy about that because I want to remind myself, my students, my staff, my inner circle that I surround myself, that winners go to battle. They work. Laziness is a vine that chokes your growth over time, okay? Yeah, so when you don't come to work, when you want to stay at home and you want to stay in your PJs and you don't want to read today and you don't want to work out today and you don't feel like saving today, you don't feel like working out or playing with your kids, you don't feel like doing 5th grade math today, you're slowly, over time, choking your growth, choking opportunities, and also impetus to be amazing. You're just like everybody else, and that's how you're going to die, and that's how you'll be remembered, just like everybody else. Lots of great impetus in the graveyard over there that never happened because of laziness. Winners work. The 4th thing is winners finish. So I have a great story about a neighbor when I was a kid, and there'd always be like a dumpster outside of his house. And when you talk to him and you'd say, I'll just make up a name, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, how's it going? He said, it's great, Rick. I'm remodeling my bathroom. Oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to do heated floors and new tile. We're going to put in one of those really fancy tubs, and we're going to have a towel rack that has heated towels and all this stuff, under cabinet lighting. Oh, sounds great. Sounds great. It's amazing. And of course, for about 2 weeks, there's, people coming in and out of there. And of course, the dumpster disappears. And a couple months later, the dumpster shows up again, and you say, hey, Mr. Jones, what are you working on now? He's like, oh, man, my basement. Oh, it's going to be fantastic, man. I'm going to do this pool table. It's going to be a tray ceiling. It's going to be all this, I'm taking down the paneling and stuff. Oh, sounds great. Hey, how'd the bathroom project go? Well, it stalled a little bit because we had this going on and this going on. I couldn't find the right paint color. And but listen, the basement is going to be fantastic. Oh, it's going to be amazing. You should come over. I can't wait till you see it. A couple weeks go by, that dumpster disappears, right? Now you know where the story's going, right? A couple
Oh, yeah.
months later, there's the dumpster again, right? Oh man, it's gonna be man. We're doing a kitchen remodel. Oh, it's gonna be great. And he goes on and on about the cabinets he's using and the tray closers and the knife and the pot boilers and all the stuff he's gonna put in. And when you ask him about his bathroom and you ask him about his basement, he didn't finish. He
Mm,
didn't finish. Not because he's a loser. No, I'm not saying that. It's
right.
because he didn't know how to finish. Winners finish. Winners
Yeah.
get it done. Right? So number one, get uncomfortable. Number two, systemize your actions. Number three, winners work because of number four, winners finish and winners win. Focus on your race. You can't earn someone else's medal. And
No, you can't.
last but not least, you'll never be criticized by somebody doing more than you,
Mm,
only by someone doing less.
that's right. I love it. I love it.
Think about that. So if you're watching here, right? And I'm sure that you've had dreams and you've had impetus and you want to run that race and you want to, go back to school or whatever. The people that are most holding you back, in most cases, are doing less than you. They always find the reason why you can't. See, inside of you, the reason you have to get uncomfortable is you have to be honest with yourself and you have to say, listen, I've been lazy for a little bit, right? I don't feel like doing the homework. So going back to school is going to be hard. But you know what? I can, because you have to remember your why. You have to remember who you're serving. And you got to remember that winners work. Winners finish. Winners start. Winners work.
Wow.
Last but not least, I'll give you one
Love it.
other little bonus tip.
Let's do
When I
it.
said that you can't earn someone else's medal, right? When I say that, you know, the very first time I went to start training for my first marathon, this was probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago. I didn't start running at all until I was in my 30s. In fact, my very first race was a half marathon. So
Mm.
I went from not running at all. I didn't run in high school, didn't run cross country, no track. I woke up when I was 30 some years old, and I said, you know what, I want to run a race. And my wife said, like, okay, don't you think you should start with like a 5K or something? I'm like, no, because that's not me. I want to ride. I want to climb the highest mountain because that's just how I'm built. So I went to this track. It's this dirt track by a local college here, and it's pretty cool. The people that created it, it's an exact.
Sorry, I was muted. What great tips Master Rick Rando shared with us on discipline. Who would you say helped you with overcoming certain disciplines, as far as not overcoming them, but understanding the value of discipline, right? And like I said, discipline is best taken on when you put it upon yourself. When you decide, maybe I'm going to get up earlier, or I'm going to do this every day, which discipline can also become a habit. So, wow, great tips. Yeah, I'm really so thankful for all the amazing coaches that have been on my shows and the ones that will be coming on in the future. I ask you to please like, subscribe, and share these tips with your colleagues, family, and friends. If you hear a tip, man, write it down, share it with others. When we take something and we keep it to ourselves, that's being selfish. When we take something and we share it with others, that's just being a beautiful person. So be beautiful. Be beautiful every day. Have an amazing rest of this Friday. I'll catch you on Monday as I cover a business tip with you. Have an amazing weekend. And remember, jot down any tip you hear and come back and share it with me and share it with everyone else, especially me. Thank you. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your day.